Welcome back to the dot course. Last video we saw how to use various operators such as the plus operator, minus, multiplication and division. And let's not forget our mod operator. In this video I'd be showing you how to combine operators, because in real life we're not just going to add two stuff. We're going to add, multiply, divide, etc. We're going to do a series of operations and not just one. So we're going to be addressing that issue in this video. So as usual, let's go ahead and create a new class. Let's call this 7 underscore arithmetic underscore operations underscore 2. So that's the second part of the arithmetic operations. We're going to be having 3. So as usual, let's go ahead and create our main method. After you're done with that, let's get started. So let's just go back and revise what we did. So to add, we have the variable, then the variable name, then we have the first variable plus another variable. And we also know that we can do it directly. 5 plus maybe 8. It's going to yield the same result. Alright, let's revert that. So this is quite optional. I'm not sure if I reminded you that in the previous video, so I'm adding on to it now. So let's go back to the 7th one. Right, so again, let's go ahead and create a scenario. This time I'm not doing examples. I'm just gonna go ahead with the real life situations where you might need to mix and match. So the case we're taking now is to find the area of a triangle. Okay, let's write that down. Alright, so I'm not sure if you guys remembered the formula, but then here it is. It's half into base into height. Oops. Yep, that's the spelling. And then, so as you see, we need two variables here. Right, so let's go ahead and create two variables. With base var base is equal to, let's say, 10, and then var base for height is equal to 5. So after you're done with that, you need another variable to compute the results of this series of operations. So I'm going to call this var area is equal to, so now let's go ahead and apply the series of operators. So first we have 0.5 multiplied by base multiplied by height, right, and a semicolon. Right, so you see, before we just dealt with two variables, but now we've dealt with 3. 2, and then now we've dealt with 3. So as you see, we can mix and match and combine any operators you really want. I can do that if that's a usable formula. But anyways, let's revert back and let's go ahead and print it out to see if it actually works. Right? So print, then area. Right? So let's go print that. Run. As you see, it's 25. Is that right? 10 into 5s are 50. Then half of that is 25. And indeed, it is right. So that's how you do series of operations. So let's just look at another example. So in this case, I'm going to be doing the average of 4 variables. All right. Average. So in this, I'm not going to create 4 variables. I'm just going to directly compute it, just to show you a variety. Right, so let's go ahead and directly create the average variable and then call this as a series of, say, 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8. So these are the 4 values. Alright, so I'm not going to be creating a variable. Excuse me for that. Values, that's the right term. Because these aren't variables. Right, so now what I'm gotta do is to divide it by 4 because we have 4 values. Right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Alright, so let's see what happens. Alright, so if you guys know what's gonna happen, let's see. Is it really gonna spit out the average or not? Cast your votes. Oh god. Yep, that's right. Let's go print that out. And if you see it's 20, which is clearly not the average. Can you guys spot out the error? Something which I've not taught you, but then it should strike. Alright, for those who got it, I'm not sure if you remember, we have in high school, or I guess elementary school, you learn this rule called BODMAS. Not sure if you remember. This stands for brackets. This stands, let's just replace this by E. That's kind of like the other rule. This stands for exponents. That's division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So that's the rule of precedence where the bracket is computed first and then as we go on. Alright, so you see we have a division here, which is in front of addition. That means the division is going to be computed first. So how this is going to be computed is, first it's going to do this, which is going to yield 2. And then all of these are going to get added, which is not what we want to do. We first want all of these to get added and then divided by 4. That's going to be a more workable approach. Right, so what I'm going to do now is, as we know, brackets come first. Right, so let's use brackets. Why not? So now what we're going to do is, we're going to use these kind of brackets. The one which you see, which is replaceable of 9 and 0. Right, so now I'm going to place this inside the bracket. Right, so whatever comes first in the bracket gets computed first. I can also keep another bracket in. Say for example, I want this to happen first. 5 minus 5. Right, so you can nest as many brackets as you want. Right, so I'm just going to remove that. Yep, so let's go ahead and run that. Where's that? Yep. And now as we see, we get a result of 6.5, which fairly seems right. It is right because we see that's the median of this and this. Right, so that's gonna work. So now what we learned is the BODMAS rule, where brackets help us to organize our computation. Right, so that's all you're gonna learn for this lesson. But I've got a challenge for you. Let me get it out. Here it is. Right, so I want you to find the surface area of a cube with the side of 5 centimeter. Right, and do this by creating a variable named side. So what I want you to do is create a var named side, then assign it to the value 5. Next, go ahead and use this formula, 5a square, where a is your side. I'm at 6a square. Yeah, so what you essentially want to do is you multiply 6 with the variable side and then square root that, right, to find the surface area. Now I haven't taught you something, which is exponents, right? You've learned addition, multiplication, subtraction, division, mod, etc., but not exponents. I've done that on purpose because I want you to learn the skill of learning. That's right, learning is an important skill. So hence, I've given you a task of learning how to find the exponents, how to do exponents. All right, So I recommend you to Google it. Just search how to do exponents in Dart, etc. You should get fairly a few results, and some websites I recommend is this good site called Stack Overflow. Alright, so after you get the surface area, I just want you to print it out. Alright, so this is one heck of a challenge, and try solving it. It's always good to try. If not, I'm always there to help you. Right, so go ahead and pause it, and I'll see you after you're done. I hope you were able to do something, but if not, let's go ahead and do it. So before that, I want to teach you something called imports. Alright, so imports are a way of getting libraries. Now, what are libraries? Libraries are code written by someone else so that you don't have to write it again. Say all these, say finding the sign, cost, etc. Someone might have already done it. Why do you want to repeat it again? So the purpose of a coder needs to be value addition and not just repetition of what many people do. So that's where the concept of libraries come into play, where you import a library, which means you take a library, which means you take someone else's code and use it. Alright, so let me show you how to import something. Let's go ahead and import Dart math. Yep, that's the one. Alright, so these are libraries which are created by Dart to facilitate your agile development process. Right, so we have imported Dart :math so that we can use some math functions, because like addition and multiplication, we don't have it ready-made. It's not a symbol for us. This is rather a function. So I think you've heard the word function somewhere. Yes, you're right. Main method is in fact a function. Right, so we're going to use another function created by someone else. Right, so how you're going to be doing this is, so first let's just go ahead and complete this challenge. Let's go ahead and create a variable called side and equate it to the value 5. Right, after you're done with that, let's go ahead and apply this formula to our surface area. Just call it SA short. Now what I'm essentially going to do is I'm going to multiply 6 into, now here comes the magic. So let's just go ahead and do math, and as you see, if you're coming from other languages, we don't have to call the class and then the method. If you're coming from Java, C#, anything, the convention is to call the class name and then dot method. But then in Dart, the beauty is you don't have to call the class. Dart just calls it redundant, and you don't have that feature, right? This makes coding much easier. And for those who are new to coding, just forget what I just said. We're going to be doing it in the advanced section, right? So all you have to do is just type POW, which stands for R. All right, so let me go ahead and hit enter. You see you've got two entities. The first one is going to be the base, and that's going to be your exponent. So I want to do 5 to the power of 2. So what I do is I input side here. Then here, go ahead and put 2, because we want 5 square, right? Side square. All right, so we have this, and pretty much that's it. This wasn't even a series of operation because this was nothing but a method. Now let's go ahead and print it. Print. Let's go ahead and do that. The surface area is, and then $SA, and then we're done. Let's go ahead and check if that works. As you see, we got it right. So if you're interested, go ahead and do the math, then check if it's actually right. Alright then, that's it for this video. I do understand that it was a long video, but then the upcoming videos are going to be short, so I'll face it. And that's it for this video, guys. See you in the next one. Goodbye.